Our first panel of the day is a revolution, and in specific, Saudi Arabia's football's revolution that made waves worldwide and gigantic offers extended to some of the biggest names in football, as you all know, resulting in historic signings with Saudi clubs and securing the rights to host the World Cup in 2034. Together with our industry experts, we will delve into the challenges and the vision of this football revolution using Saudi Arabia's bid for the 2034 World Cup as a launching point.
Thank you, Ali. Good morning, Assalamu alaikum to everyone here, and it's a great pleasure to have you here on a very exciting 2 weeks. That's a real showcase of exactly that. Today, the kingdom is witnessing a massive drive towards the development of football. This is not anything new. Football history in the kingdom has been strong. It's been evident. One of the clubs that participated in the Club World Cup that Ittihad was established in the 1920s. The history and heritage of the club generally hasn't vast. We were in past efforts looking at ways where we can develop our game, develop our sports, and we were really pleased to see one independent statistic, which is Saudi Arabia, 90% of the population are avid followers of the game. And this is a statistic in which Saudi Arabia and its people are front runners in this area, even comparing to other nations that perhaps are well known for their love of the game. The interest is there. I think our prerogative within the bid of 2034, but also with the development of the league, growing grassroots, is to ensure that there's the right conversion of interest into participation and interest into development pathway. So we're building off a great history, and hopefully we're going into a new dawn, a great new ambition for our love of the games.
What lies behind the World Cup in 2024? How does that fit in directly with the overall strategy of Saudi Arabia? And what are the ambitions? What are the ambitions?
This is a good question. I think in the last 8 years, what we've seen ever since the launch of the Vision 2030, we've seen a measure of development that's unparalleled anywhere in the world. And if we want to use that as a measure or a metric to measure what the next 11 years will look like as we aspire and dream to host the World Cup, I don't think even us can start explaining what the World Cup in 2030 will look like. But what we can definitely use for the past to tell the future. We can tell that it will push boundaries, it will be innovative, it will be a magnificent showcase of a footballing loving nation participating in using the occasion of the football festival to celebrate the game, celebrating love. So it will be a great opportunity for us to present if given the opportunity.
Thank you.
Lamia, it's a pleasure to have you with us. We've heard a lot about 2026, right? What it means to Saudi Arabia, how it's driven progress, how it's driven growth. Living example of progress that's been made under the vision. Tell us more about your story, because your journey really has gone step by step with the journey of women's football in Saudi Arabia.
Well, first of all, good morning, Ali, and good morning to the audience. When it comes to my personal story, it's very simple. I fell in love with football madly, deeply since I was 5-6 years old. I remember when I was a child, I used to play with my family, with my friends, and with anyone who was willing to join. And played on every kind of field, from concrete to sand to grass, whatever we can find place. So once we found that space, that's it. Team 1, Team 2, grab a ball, and let's play. So it's been like that since 2007, 2008. So I have to take you 15 years back. Myself and a group of very inspirational, powerful women established the first ever community league in the history of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That league was 9-a-side, And I had a very inspirational companion in that journey. She is here with us today, Abalawi. She was with us 15 years ago, as we are speaking right now, and what's happening in women's football. So as I said, we established the league. It was a nine-a-side. It wasn't a formal league. It wasn't under any official umbrella within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Yes, it was as exciting as a professional one. We had committees, fans, lots of clubs and organizers. So we had it all back then. And let's go fast forward to today, and thanks to the trust of our leadership, and thanks to Saudi Vision 2030, now women's football is blossoming into this thriving, energetic community, and it's going through a massive transformation. So this is a problem with my mic also. Oh. You're good? Okay. So anyhow, as I said, it's thriving with football, and it's growing into this energetic, thriving, vibrant community. We have achieved a lot, but there is a lot to come along the way that we have to work for. So as what I can say, to sum it up, I would say that my journey, my personal journey evolved alongside of this transition. So from establishing a community league, from being a community league player, referee, coach, to being now the vice president of the Saudi Arabian Football Federation, I would say that it was, and it still is an incredible journey.
Obviously, it is you mentioned all the growth that's happened since you get 15 years. In the last couple of years, that growth has accelerated incredibly. Where do you see women's football? The state of women's football at this point in Saudi Arabia, and do you think it will be given? It is being given equal importance by the country, by the Football Federation, as the men's game is?
Well, absolutely. Women's football is as important as men's football under the Saudi Arabian Football Federation, and this is reflected in so many ways. So, women's football is going through a massive transformation, as I said, and when we launched our strategy 2 years back, women's football was one of the main key pillars of that strategy. And we are doing our best to have initiatives to grow the women's game further and further. So we're focusing 100% on laying the foundation of women's football, of laying a more sophisticated women's football. And what I can say is that within only the recent 2 years, when we talk about women's football, there is always impressive numbers and figures. So just in the last 2 years, we were able to increase the players' number from 300 to over 1,000. We used to have 16 clubs 2 years ago, and now we have 34 clubs registered under the federation. We used to have one regional training center dedicated for the under 17, and now we have 4. And we used to have 1 competition 2 years ago, and today we have 5 competitions for women's football under the federation. So the numbers are there, and women's football is really blossoming, and we're very excited about it. However, on a related note, and I think it's very important to mention that since you mentioned equality, in the Saudi Arabian Football Federation, all national team players, regardless of their gender, they get the same access to training facility, they get the same training equipments, and they stay at the same hotels. And what's most important to us, that every player in the national team, regardless of their gender, they get and receive the same daily allowance. So we are very committed to equality and to ensuring that both men and women football get the recognition, support that they deserve.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael, we can come to you. Also, a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Michael, so much has been said about the Saudi Pro League. What's happened since the summer has been incredible. Arguably one of the stories, if not the story of the year in football. Tell us, how do you see? Tell us about how you see the project and your part in it. Also, like, do you think, are you happy with like where the, considering all this, the work that was done in the summer, are you happy where it is at the moment?
Again, thank you, and it's good to be here with you and the audience. I have to start by reiterating that football has been a historical part of existence in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's not something that started in August when SPL kicked off. It's been here for a long time and doing well, and we saw the evidence of that in the last World Cup. What we've come in to do, and what the SPL, the refined and reinvigorated SPL, is meant to do, is to enhance the process of professionalizing, the clubs, and providing evidence of a great competitive environment, a great entertainment value for a country or youthful population that is very interested in the sport. Our role in my department, which is anchored by what you've heard, the Player Acquisition Center of Excellence, is to serve as a conduit to the clubs to help make the process of player acquisition efficient and budget effective.
Great. I mean, Michael, obviously, looking back on the incredible progress that's happened over the last year, only a year ago, like Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't even here, and we know the impact that he's had. It shouldn't be forgotten that, as you mentioned, Saudi's league and Saudi football has always been strong. It's been a really, really strong, football culture here for decades with the national team and with the league. However, we have to accept that, with Cristiano Ronaldo coming, it took it to a whole new level, and since then we've seen the influx of the foreign players that have joined, in the wake of Cristiano Ronaldo. So incredible progress by the league. Tell us about your role in it. I mean, like a little bit more in details about PACE, the Player Acquisition Center of Excellence, how you are involved with the clubs, like in terms of like getting these transfers done. Is it a collaborative effort with the clubs? Do they require certain positions and you take over and you suggest these players? What does your role entail?
Well, there's no doubt that Cristiano was definitely the groundbreaker for what is happening in terms of the increases in quality of the league. But he was already on board when I came in with my good friend Saad Al-Aziz. And I would like to mention that the arrival of Karim Benzema, who holds the title as Ballon d'Or at the time that he signed for Al Ittihad, was instrumental. Was the explosion of interest from all the players, and I think all these players that have committed to come to the SPL are players with vetted quality and capabilities in the industry. So we're very happy to have them. I think what we try to do initially is to make sure that we explain what the league is all about, and to get the initial impact to be as strong as possible. And I think we accomplished that. Now, the next phase of establishing our league as one of the best in the world is to professionalize other aspects of the league, including infrastructures, development of young players, academies. We anticipate an avalanche of pitches all around the kingdom, so that the kind of story that Madam Lamia told will multiply, and young boys and girls in this country will have an opportunity to go out and express their great love for the game with ease and admiration. So that's where we are. And I think in terms of development of young Saudi national players, we're working on several different fronts. Infrastructure is a part of it. We have to look at education. That includes education of staff, new coaches, and also find varied ways, which is in conversation, of game time and game minutes and hours, which is a precursor to development. and we're actively working on this number of areas to improve the league.
Do you work closely with the clubs themselves? You know, like, are you in constant touch with the clubs regarding their requirements?
Absolutely. You know, that is the main aspect of the job, is for us to liaise with the club and help them with whatever, you know, they need, or advise them on what we think helps the football club become better as a professional institution.
Michael, I'm going to stick with you for a second. Having come so quickly, you know, like in a short period of time, where are we right now? You know, in terms of like, what's the main focus for SPL, for PACE? You know, in December 2023 going forward, what is that? And we'd like to, I mean, and again, you know, in terms of your plans for the future, is there anything that, you know, like our guests, you know, like some of the leading industry figures here, you know, do they have a role to play? How can they help?
Well, I think it's very clear that the ambition is very, very high. And because of that, the expectation is accelerating. But we have to take a deliberate process. And I think where we are now is we feel that we have a very good competitive league. And we want to make it better. It's competitive in the sense that there is a development of a group of mid-level teams that are challenging the teams at the top. There is a development of those teams that form the engine of every league, and I'm talking about the teams from 5th to 12th, and we have those now in the likes of Al Taiwan, Damak, Etifak, Shabab, and many others that I might escape my memory at the moment, but. We have that now, and we think that the league is as competitive as we expected it to be, and it gives us something to work on. It's a platform that we can use as a springboard to try to improve what we have. We've got quality players, different levels of quality players in all the teams, and now we have to monitor, you know, the progress of these players and the progress of the clubs, and see how we can improve all the clubs going forward. But the league is very competitive, and I see that on a regular basis.
Thank you, Michael. Hammad, if we can come back to you. Touching on a similar subject in terms of like the people here, you know, we've got like industry, like professionals from across the world, especially Asia. We've got a lot of from the from Asian football community. Tell us, will the World Cup, the 2034 World Cup, you know, hopefully once it's confirmed, you know, what are the opportunities that are going to come for individuals, for businesses, people that, you know, again, people can be involved in, they can benefit, that can be of benefit to Saudi Arabia and to the World Cup bid, and also for the businesses that are in the football community?
Thank you, Ali, for this question. And I think today we're sat in one. We're sat in a venue where the World Football Summit, a private venture, wanted to put together this event, a private venture, to bring together the community, again, set of private industries. And we have 70% of the audience today that have flown in to be here. We have over 50 different nationalities represented in the audience. And this is an example of a private venture for the private industry. Of course, many more opportunities will come up. Even when we talk about our bid process, and today we are in a bid process, we are looking to comply with all requirements. Beyond that, if we have been given the great honor of hosting the World Cup in 2034, many different industries and areas that we look to improve, from fan experience to other areas of match day activities, all the way to facilities and infrastructure. So 100% there are opportunities that are already being grasped, as is evident today.
Great. It's a long road ahead, so obviously we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you, Hammad. Lamia, if we can come back to you, obviously so many headlines about you know, the World Cup bid, so many headlines about what's been happening in Saudi Arabian football for the last year. But for you, as part of the Football Federation, you know, what's being done to, you know, sort of safeguard the future of Saudi players? You know, so what's being done at Grassroots to ensure that Saudi young Saudi talent is nurtured alongside, obviously, all the stars that are coming here?
Yeah. So in the Football Federation, I think in any football federation, the strength of it will be in their youth and in their talent that emerges from their grassroots. So we believe that the young players of today are the champions, the winners, the stars of tomorrow. So the federation needs to put so much effort towards them. And in fact, that, as my colleague mentioned, that we are a very young nation, and in fact that 70% of our nation is under the age of 35. That gives us a vast pool of talent waiting to be helped and discovered. And this gives us this youthful energy around the kingdom. And we will do our best to have every potential out there that is ready to, that we will unlock. So it's very important that in the federation, we need to have targeted initiatives towards youth. So for example, we do have 22 regional training centers around the kingdom, which are training centers only for the under 17. They have 3 to 4 times days a week training, and sometimes it extends to 8 to 9 months. And we have also the schools league, both for boys and the girls. And what's really interesting about the girls league is in the first edition, there was the first edition in the history of the kingdom for girls to play in school. There were like 48,000 girls registered. And in the second edition, we have over 70,000 girls registered to play in school. And also in addition to that, we are educating the teachers. So we have over 700 licensed coaches that are teachers within the school to help us grow the ecosystem. In addition to that, in the federation, we're focusing on enhancing and establishing more competitions for the age groups. We have now 14. However, every year we want to add a new competition for a certain age group. And we also have monthly festivals. So each month we have 1 to 2 festivals around the kingdom. So we will invite any girl or any boy to come and play football, to show off their talent on field, and to have this connection with the football federation. So youth is very important to us. They are the future of Saudi Arabia's football, and we're very dedicated to give all of our energy to our youth.
I mean, incredible progress for youth football, for women's football in general, over the last few years. Also, we over the last couple of days, we know the new coach for the Saudi women's national team,
Yeah.
Luis Cortez, has been announced, and also there's a new under 20 national team. So the women's game seems to be in a very healthy place. Constant development. So that's great. I mean, what we want to know is, and again, it's a little bit what I asked the gentleman earlier. What's next for women's football, and again, how can the industry, contribute and benefit from what's happening in women's football in Saudi Arabia?
So I'll break your question because I think there's like 2 questions there. So first of all, for our coach Luis Cortez, he was we announced yesterday that he is the head coach of our women's national team. We wish him the best of luck because we rely heavily on him, on his coaching capability and his background to take the women's national team further in the FIFA ranking and to do better and better in the competitions ahead. So we wish him the best of luck in that. In regards to the national teams, as I said, we used to have 2 years ago only 2 national teams, and now we have 4. The recent is the under 20, and we're very proud of that, and we are happy that things are evolving, and within the next couple of months we will have also the under 15. So this is happy news to us in the federation. The third question, what was it?
No, I was saying that with everything that's happening in Saudi women's football and all the major developments, again, with like industry leaders being involved, how can they contribute to the growth of Saudi women's football, and how can they benefit themselves as well?
Absolutely. So I think in Saudi Arabia we are excited to play football, and we are excited to connect with the global football community through football. I think we have a lot to offer, yet we do have a lot to learn from the football community. So we want to exchange know-how, and we want to have some collaborations with so many federations to further develop football in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
But and also, I want to just note on the Premier League of the Women's Premier League. I just want to take a second to invite everyone here who is sitting to. We have a game on Thursday between Al Ittihad and Al Ahli, which is Jeddah Derby for the women. If you go to the application of the World Football Summit, you will find a barcode where you can have tickets to that game for free. So please, everyone, come and enjoy women's football in Saudi, and it's going to be a great game on Thursday.
Great.
Thank you.
Very, very briefly, last comment from you on the subject is: do you think women's football can evolve in the way that men's football has?
Well, I think we can't compare women's football in Saudi to men's football. And to be honest, we can't even compare women's football in Saudi to any women's football in any other country. Everyone is evolving and everyone is on their own unique journey, and everyone is like walking forward at their own pace. However, we should celebrate women's football and what's going on, not only in Saudi, but in the whole world. And we need to connect with each other to give women's football the platform it deserves.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Michael, if we come to you, obviously, you have a very intriguing job being part of the acquisition of players for Saudi Arabia. You must get asked a lot of questions. We've got the January transfer window coming up. How do you see that coming? Can we expect a big January, or are yourself and the clubs happy with what's happened with sort of the transfers that were made in the summer? What can we expect going forward?
Well, what we'll expect is, for us to operate like any other league in world football. I think it's important whenever we're talking about football in Saudi Arabia or the Saudi Pro League to understand that nothing that is happening here is alien to the way that the football industry or the ecosystem are always operated. If the ambitions go up, the resources go up with it. If you get an interest in being professionalized, you will get better results. And I think there is a definite appetite in the kingdom to want to do things right, for this industry. And I think it's wonderful for our ecosystem. Looking at all the dignitaries that are here and representatives of our colleagues that are here today, you can understand that the expansion of opportunities in the industry is good for everyone. And that's what the Saudi Pro League is offering to the football ecosystem. And we will approach the transfer window in a very methodical and thoughtful way and do what is right for our clubs. Are we going to spend? I don't know how things are going to pan out, but what I can assure you is that there will be a very controlled and managed professional process through the window.
That's great.
Don't ask him for names, Ali. We don't even get any.
I was going to say,
He doesn't even tell us. We've
we
tried.
won't tell
many a
anyone.
time.
We'll keep it a secret if you tell us.
doesn't work.
Michael, you mentioned that what the league does is for the benefit of everyone involved in the league. Obviously, having all these fantastic players coming from abroad is great for the development of the league in terms of entertainment. And we would hope that the Saudi players, whether they're coming through or older players, would also benefit themselves playing alongside these international stars. But what are the steps that are being taken by the SPL? I mean, Lamia touched on grassroots football. What are the steps being taken by the SPL to sort of ensure that the young Saudi players as well get all the benefits and all the help they can get to progress in the league?
Well, in the short term, we notice in real time the improvement of young players playing together with these fantastic players. You can only learn, from being associated with people who've performed this craft at the highest level. It does help. In the medium and long term, again, I emphasize that though we are all in a hurry to make things happen, we have to take a deliberate approach to the process to make sure that we do it right. There's no need to get in there and not producing anything of quality. And our goal, and we're having conversations with SAF and with the Ministry of Sports, and I can assure you that we have incredible backing, thanks to His Royal Highness the Minister of Sports, and we're confident that we will eventually find a methodology that good for the development of players of all categories for our national teams and young players in the kingdom.
That's great. Thank you, Michael. Right, final comments. Hammad, I'll come to you. Any final comments you'd like to tell our audience today?
Well, just to build on Lamia's offer, I think personally I've been to more women's Premier League games this season than the men's. To feed off of the question, is it growing? I think there's interest there, there's development there. I think what we're doing from a World Cup aspiration perspective is going to grow the game at all levels for both men and women, boys and girls. And I think there's opportunity for growth. Even when you talk about the ambitions of the Pro League, I think what's happening there is going to benefit Saudi players. And we hear stories about people, you know, doing the maths. How old am I going to be in 2034? Am I going to be able to get the opportunity to represent my country? And it's all very exciting. So I hope people understand and feel the excitement and the energy in the room and across the next fortnight.
That's great. Thank you, Hammad. Lamia, last comments from you?
Well, I just want to say that we have high ambitions, high aspirations when it comes to football, and we have a lot of passion, and we're very excited each and every day. We wake up every morning and we work 24/7 to make our dreams come true, to transfer strategies into reality, and to be able to see that when you work on something really hard and then the next day you wake up and you see it happening live, you can feel it. It's a feeling that it's indescribable. So the passion is there, the excitement is there, as Hammad said, and we are looking forward for a great journey for football in Saudi Arabia.
That's great. Thank you, Lamia. Michael, final comments from you.
Well, I would just like to say that we are enjoying the unique position that we're in to be able to collaborate with all the football stakeholders in the country. And it's not nothing that we do is isolated to the SPL. And just to whet the appetite of those who are waiting patiently to hear something interesting, I would like to emphasize that the Saudi Pro League is open to every single player of whatever level that has interest in improving their game and improving their life in living in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We are open for business.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much to everyone of our panel and to our audience. If you can just give them a round of applause for that.